Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
What's up, Aaron? Welcome to the Tuesday Q&A show.
That intro is not nearly as good as our Friday intro.
Yeah, no, it's more mellow. The Tuesday show is more just like we quickly answer questions, we're in and out. The Friday show gets us pumped up for like a lot.
It's like I was ready to rage, and I was ready to get all pumped up, and I was like, oh, this is really mellow. Okay.
These Tuesday shows, and so just so our audience knows what we're doing, we do this show like almost every Tuesday when we have questions. If people have submitted questions that I can't answer, and I get a lot of emails like, "Hey Zach, how do I pump up my boat?" And I can't possibly answer all these emails and do it adequately in an email. So we try to talk about them live on the show, and sometimes people who ask the questions watch live and they get their answers live, or they watch the recording later. So you might be watching this later and just see how we answer the questions. So that's it. You ready to do this, Aaron?
Yeah, go for it. Let's see how
the audience this week is stoked. This is double Aaron this week. They're very lucky.
Double? Oh yeah, 2 times this week. I was like, double Aaron. There's another Aaron here. Where's the other?
No,
yeah,
it's you twice. All right. So the first question, I don't think I need to read this. I'm gonna need to read it myself though. I've seen some of these questions. I haven't seen them all. He's doing overnight trips, unpacking a raft while maintaining space for a couple of paddlers.
So is this? And I am wondering. ... That's his ... It doesn't go to the next page.
Oh, I think it goes to the next page. Yeah. Let me move to the next page. Sorry, it's such so long.
Oh no.
What is the family meant to do with 4 very expensive and trying to incorporate overnights and whitewater adventures or paddling? Yeah, so basically he does day trips, wants to do overnight trips. Can he get away with 4 people? Does he need to have an oar frame? With 4 very expensive kids, yes, very experienced kids. So does he need an oar frame to do overnights? And how does he do this with 4 kids? I already know what you're going to say, Aaron.
What am I going to say?
Bring less stuff.
I think he's saying that. Look at the next page, because go back to the next page. The next page I think is key. The second page. Is an oar frame imminent? Like, does he need an oar frame? No, definitely do not need an oar frame. You can have way cool time without.
No, but it brings so much stuff you want to bring. Do you want chairs?
Well, you can still do without an oar frame.
Do you want a cooler?
He's trying to fit everything in one boat with his kids.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 kids plus himself, which is like 3 kids plus himself.
Overnight gear. Plus overnight gear.
I'm going to say 3 kids plus himself. Let's talk about that. 3 kids plus yourself. You take out the middle thwart, and you have the thwarts in the front and the back, and you just pile all the gear in the middle, and you can put a lot of gear in the middle of that and just paddle it down.
Why is 3 easier? Because he's in the very back paddle guiding.
Well, because don't you usually sit to one side? I don't.
Yeah,
really
but you
sit,
could use the first two thwart areas for 4 kids. And they use the next thwart to pile a bunch of dry bags of stuff.
Oh, you could do it in that little area. But if you just have 2 people up front, I would do 2 people up front, take the middle thwart out, so you have that huge area, and you have 1 kid back with you. So basically, it just doesn't take if he just leaves his least favorite kid at home, it'll work really well, right? Just leave the least favorite kid at home.
Leave the 6-year-old. Just tell the 6-year-old you're not old enough.
Yeah, don't take the 6.
Let's talk when you're 10, because the 15-year-old will be 9 and won't want to go. We'll be 19 and won't want to go.
The 6-year-old also is a little young to be paddling, so maybe you could find a spot for him, like sitting on the thwart in the middle of the thwart up front, or sitting up front on the bow. Just hold it on with their head up over the front.
Okay.
But you're right. You could do it just that space. Like, you could have 2 paddlers up front and a 3rd paddler, and then have the young kid back with you or something, and then behind the second thwart, you could fill that with gear, and maybe off to the side next to that other person, you could put gear. You could put gear back next to you. There's definitely a lot of spots. I've seen people rig like a dry bag up on the front of the boat, on the nose of the boat, on the inside.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, if you go backpacking style, it's actually really easy.
Yeah, it depends. It does depend on your boat. I mean, do you have a 13-foot Air or like a 14-foot Avon, right? If it's a little bit bigger paddle boat, easy. I mean, not easy. Like most people, they want like their partner steel stove and their big groover, and they want all the stuff. But if you just go like Aaron wants to go,
no, it's way sicker. You can fit everything in your car, throw your stuff, and just go backpacking style. People, you have your kids. If you got a 6-year-old, his stuff's not going to take up any space. So just have like sheer dry bags.
When you say backpacking style, you don't mean to have to run Whisper Light stoves and eat Mountain House. You can have like a little bit bigger than a Whisper Light stove, like an MSR Dragonfly, and you can make meals like beans and rice and tortillas
yeah.
and
I mean, you take
you're
more
not
of
going to
a
make fajitas.
backpacking style stove. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like more of the smaller
Yep.
stoves. You could do that. I mean, if you really want to go hardcore, you don't even bring a stove. Just have like cold burritos, canned burritos for dinner and stuff like that. Like,
or cook on a fire if you can have fires.
yeah, cook on a fire. I think you want to be tough and make your kids like get tough. Yeah, we're not bringing a stove.
Yeah.
No
I've
way.
done a lot of trips where we cook on fires.
Yeah.
Like it's a skill, but it's not that hard.
So I'm gonna say I remember we did a trip on the Forks of the Kern where we hiked in a paddle boat. We did an overnight trip, and there were 1, 2, 3. I think there were 5 of us in the paddle boat, and we took all our gear in the paddle boat, and we carried all our gear in along with the raft down that put in, right? And then we ran the river.
2 miles. 2 mile hike in.
Yeah, 2 mile hike in with the boat, and like, yeah, we totally didn't. We just went really light, and we didn't actually bring a stove on that trip. We had cold burritos, which was actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, but we
actually stole
20.
some Taco Bell.
We're like 19 or 20.
What?
Aaron,
Yeah,
you can do that when you're like 19 or 20. Would you do that now?
I do it at the pack raft. I do the pack raft. I would.
Yeah, but would you carry like your dry bag on your? Did you carry the raft in? If I remember,
actually, I was running shuttle.
Which trip are we talking about?
I was running shuttle while everyone else was.
No, you weren't. We saw you in town getting the permit and having a latte while your friends were carrying the raft.
Exactly.
So.
No latte. I don't drink coffee, but yeah, I was in town getting the permit.
You were having a smoothie or something, goofing off in town. But I think it depends on the ethic. But the problem is you also need to have friends. You cannot just take you and 3 kids in a paddle boat rafting. That's just, in my opinion, not responsible. So you have to have other people in your group.
But come on, are there trips in Oregon? He's looking for the shoots. Are there trips in Oregon that you think a one boat trip is okay?
I don't think any.
Even is there like a float stretch, like a really nice
John Day, maybe, but yes. I mean, I think just from a safety perspective, in terms of, I mean, there could be stuff that goes wrong in the water, but I mean, it's a lot of kids for one adult to manage. Where somebody gets hurt, stung by a rattlesnake, like all the things that can happen.
15-year-old's pretty much an adult. Like a 15-year-old is pretty solid. They're functional.
I just think that I'm not going to recommend doing overnights with just 2 or 3 kids. I don't think that's responsible personally.
What about this? Would you do it if you had a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old? Would you let them R2 one boat and put a couple of dry bags in it and him have another boat?
If they were skilled.
Would that be safe? Yeah, if they're skilled, that would be a pretty good trip there.
A second boat, and then you're not so heavy. Like one boat with all the kids and all the gear. That's kind of a lot. Oh, we have comments, huh?
Yeah, we have comments here. We get an explanation.
Wait, we'll get to that later. What length of what? Oh man, this might take a long time. Oh, there he is, a 14-foot Outfitter XT. Is that a NRS boat maybe? Oh, and have 2 people on a case. I think
spreading 2 boats. Yeah, that's in there. That's actually a really nice setup. And then you can just take the middle thwart out and just pile up full of gear. I mean, but the problem is you get too much gear, then it gets really unwieldy to paddle. So I just try not to bring too much gear. But
14 Outfitter XT is a good boat. But now the airframe's imminent because now there's nobody's in the boat.
What do you mean?
Like if there's 4 of them and 2 of them are IKs, that's only 2 people in the boat.
Two paddlers plus him. There's 4 kids plus him, so 2 paddlers plus him in the back.
Yeah, but 2 of them are in IKs.
Yeah, the problem is if you have a 6-year-old with one of your paddlers, that's going to be tough.
Yeah. So is it 4 paddlers plus 2 people in IKs? I just think having all the overnight gear plus 3 kids in a paddle boat is not going to be the most effective paddle boat, right?
I agree. Depending on the age of the kids, especially if one's a 6-year-old.
Yeah. And then if you flip, that's a lot of people in the water with nobody to rescue them.
But it sounds like he understands. I feel like his question is more on the sides of the logistics of the gear. And I'd say you could gear-wise, you definitely can do it. Like the trip you're talking about. If you had 5 total people, 2 inflatable kayaks, 1 raft, and you're just taking them as a paddle boat, that would work. Now you start getting the age of the kids and their experience, those variables you definitely have to factor in. But if you had 5, athletic people, you could definitely do that easily. And it'd be a really fun trip. So
one cool, I think it's doable. We've done a bunch of these. I think that things are dealing with the groover, and we just use the buckets. What I would do is get wag bags and have a bucket with the Gamma Seal lids, and just put the wag bags in the bucket every day just to separate them. You'll need
See, Zach likes to go big. I would just take a dry bag and line it with a trash compactor bag.
no, a dry
and
bag
and put like one of the
and just
small
poop
ones,
in that.
like your old ones. No, poop in a wag bag and then put it in the trash compactor bag in.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that because if the dry bag gets smashed, the poop will. Aaron, these are basically Ziplocs full of poop. If somebody falls in that dry bag, the poop's gonna come out.
Come on.
Put it in a bucket. A bucket is not going big. A bucket weighs nothing, Aaron. You want to protect it.
People get hurt getting thrown into buckets. I've seen a lot of people hurt being thrown into buckets.
They get more hurt getting thrown into a bag full of poop.
No, definitely not. It's soft and it's still warm. Probably it's all nice.
Dude, don't listen to Aaron here. He's wrong. He's just wrong.
Mark.
Willie Bum saying the same thing. You might want to slam board frame.
Mark, yeah, totally. The slant board would be nice, or a stern mount.
BLM says, "Oh, the back. Oh, there you go. So you can't even do the wag bags. So you have to have a real groover. So then, I wish I had it. Like, you got to get a groover.
What do you mean the bag option? BLM says the bag option is not.
What's happening a lot of places, Aaron, is everybody's doing wag bags, and the trash at takeout is full of wag bags, and so it's becoming a problem on rivers. So a lot of agencies are like, no more wag bags. You have to bring a groover. Here's what I think. Let's go back.
But then I'm gonna say this, but the groover. Let's be honest. Those groover stations at a lot of takeouts don't work right. They always get backed up. So that's not
like no. We're actually gonna install a groover, like a hole for poop at our house because we're done with them breaking all the time. No, the groover thing's a problem for sure. But you can clean them at like an NERV dump. It's not that big of a deal.
That's true.
But let's just get back. I think the quick things you got to think about are like minimal food, no big deal. A place to put trash. Don't put it in just a dry bag. You want a bucket to like trash. You want to burn some trash. And then just like minimal lightweight plates. And yeah, it's not that hard. I think it's super fun. Yeah. I'm going to say, though, to answer the question, I think that the ore frame is imminent. I think that you'll do a couple of these trips, but get the ore frame, but go a slant board. I wouldn't go stern mount because then you're in the very, very back and all the stuff's in front. Maybe if you have paddlers, but
yeah, two paddlers.
I would still go center. They can still paddle in the front. And then you can like, if the boat's a little heavy, you can row. Don't get a full on like Recrotech thing with dry boxes and all the slidey things. Just get a really simple ore mount frame, maybe a slant board, maybe an NRS Longhorn. By the way, NRS has not sponsored us yet, but I want to say how much I do love the NRS Longhorn frame. Thank you, NRS, for making that frame.
But you don't like the stern, the slant board option. You like the seat option for theirs.
I want the slant board. If it was me, I'd do a slant board.
But will you buy their slant board? I thought you didn't like.
No, I won't buy their slant board. I'd make one. I wouldn't buy the NRS slant board. NRS, I love some of your products, but because I want you to sponsor us, but I don't love the slant board.
Okay, now let's talk for a second.
Yeah.
Just be clear, like this, the problem with buying the stern mount, it's single purpose, and it doesn't work down on the flats. Like particularly if you buy the NRS style. But if you bought like the Longhorn one, you could still put it behind the two thwarts and put it still on the flat. And you could have two paddles up front. You could rig step between the thwarts, and you can rig step underneath you and in behind you still.
You can run the Longhorn in the stern if you want. It's just going to be a little weird off the bat.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'll be fine.
It's much more usable for a lot of different situations, much more so than the stern mount frames. Yeah.
So I'm going to say get a Longhorn frame or something simple. Go backpacker style. Figure out trash and poop. You'll have a great time. And, 10 years from now, you'll probably own like 8 boats and you'll be, a warehouse and a truck.
Just go paddleboat R2 style. Just buy another raft and make your kids R2 it so they can take some weight.
We have so many questions. First of all, Scott, thanks for being a member. Have you done any river surfing? I've done a lot of stand-up paddleboarding, a lot.
Do you use a leash?
Yeah, but I have it right here. Really bum. I got this answer. Use this salamander waist bag one. It's sweet. It's a nice little leash. It goes
not an ankle leash like surfers use.
It's not an ankle leash. Don't use an ankle leash. This goes around your waist. This goes on the board. It's long. I don't like going to my rescue vest because rescue vests, there's data on this. They don't always release. Like there's actually, I read a scientific article that 25% of the time they don't release. So just get this like salamander around the waist gig. I've used this. I've had 200 days in the water with this thing. It's awesome. I'm a big fan. And it always releases. It's got a really, really easy release system. It's super adjustable. Anyway, done with that. 220. Maybe 240. Let's go 240. Whitewater. It depends on the kayak. It depends on a million factors. I'm gonna say go with the Werner Rio FG 240.
I'm gonna say I would just say if you think more of a sea kayaking length paddle than a whitewater kayaking length paddle.
240. But don't get a sea kayak paddle. Get a 240.
Yeah, but that length, you're higher up. You got to get over the sides of the tubes more. It's just having a little bit longer of a paddle is nice.
Kayaking, I run a 200. I'll use my 200 inflatable kayaking all the time, but that 240 is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's get to these quick. Johnny Lunchhorn. Okay, what is? Mike, I don't know. Somebody else might know this. I think they may not be okay in the row now or soon. I've heard some talk because there's so many of them at the trash at the end. It's becoming a problem. So it might be coming, or it might be I would double check that because it might be changing. All right, let's move on. I'm ordering rafts this week. Who's the trailer brand you recommend? What is the best one? I'm trying to remember the one I like. It's made in Portland. Iron Eagle. You ever see the movie Iron Eagle?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like Top Gun, but like not Top Gun.
Yeah, it was like the remake of Top Gun, but not Top Gun exactly. I wonder if they're gonna remake Iron Eagle next since they just redid Top Gun. That'd be cool. All right,
here we go. This is it right here. It's the Iron Eagle, the Versa Max. I have one of these. It is awesome. There's different sizes. It's pretty expensive. These are like $3,500 or more. And they have upgraded. I got the upgraded wheels. It has like really baller rims. The plastic platform the boat sits on, it's just really well thought out, really well designed. This is, I think, the best raft trailer that exists for just like, light use. For heavy use, probably not. Okay, moving on. I'm looking at the Deluxe Cobra Ornock with the lock nut and the standard. Just wondering what you think would be better to get. I just did a whole video about this. Did you see my video, Aaron?
No.
I just did a whole Gear Garage video about this, about the different Orlocks, maybe like a few weeks ago. So I actually brought the Orlocks with me now because I saw this was a question. This is the Cobra. It looks cool. It has a cool name. I would not recommend this to anybody who's running whitewater. This is for people that fish. They're people. I know people have them and they think they're cool. And they're going to be like, I love my Cobra Orlocks. No, you like expensive things that look cool and have cool names. This is not a good Orlock for whitewater. I said my piece. This is
Zach, do you think it's a good Orlock for running flat water?
Yeah, sure. If you're going to do flat water, it's maybe okay.
So if you're running something like the Grand Canyon where most of it's flat water,
no,
that might not be a bad choice. Or like
no,
the lower main salmon.
I don't think these should be used for whitewater ever. That's my opinion.
Why is that?
Because they see how they allow the oar to get too vertical.
Yeah.
And so if you want to stand a lot in row, that's probably a good thing.
That's why if you're rowing a lot of flat water, then you can stand up. Exactly. That's why.
Yeah.
That's
if it's completely flat, awesome. But when you're running rapids, that allows the oar to get too vertical. And as you know, when the oar gets vertical, that's when they like to break. You want the oar to, like in a standard one, you want the oar to like hit this point and pop out of the lock before it gets vertical. And so there's way too many oars getting vertical. And what's the point? Like, I mean, maybe if you're going to stand a lot and you're really tall, this makes sense.
I like those for that reason. Yeah.
You like the Cobras?
I like that for standing. I like them for standing.
Do you use these?
Otherwise, if I use those other ones that you have to really open them up so that your oar basically falls out to stand up on them.
Just don't. I don't stand when I row, so I guess.
Well, I stand up a lot.
Aaron, in the Grand Canyon, do you use this Orlock?
No.
Okay.
But I wish I did because I have mine really open. I really have mine open. Yeah.
No, I'm going to say, I don't know. In my opinion, I've had a lot of discussions about this recently. These aren't good for whitewater. I have a box of these. I have like 10 of these. I bought these for my guides like 15 years ago. I'm like, I'm going to stoke them out. I'm going to buy them Cobras. They're expensive. They sound cool. I just found this box of them last week. I'm sitting on a box of these right now. So we should auction these off to people.
Or we can give them away, Zach.
Maybe at the live show Friday, we'll give away Cobra Orlocks.
Yeah,
But the fact that my guides use them and put them in a box, and every year I'm like, for a while I was like, hey, take those Orlocks. They'd use them once. I'm like, no, these are awful. So I'm decided I don't like these at all. The A is the classic, like this, but it's boring looking. See, the Cobra looks really cool. You're like, oh,
it's more than looks cool. What's the name of the one in your left hand?
The A, the Sawyer A.
Yeah. See, I mean, come on.
Super boring.
Yeah, I wrote the Sawyer A. I wrote Cobras. I mean,
I know exactly. I got the Cobras, and they cost more, so of course they're better. But I'm gonna tell you, the Canyon has the bee's knees. See this thing, Aaron? This is made for the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I've seen this.
It's sort of in between. There's a little bit of roundedness here. It's thicker, and if you land on it, they put this here, so if you land on it, it's not as like, it's not going to hurt your spleen as much, right? So they put a little roundedness here to protect people if the ore comes out and it flips and lands on your head or something. But I'm going to say the Cobra. If you're going to get a cool ore lock and want to spend the money, I would get the Canyon. This thing is pretty sweet. They should have called this a cooler name than Canyon. Like this should be the Python or the Viper or the Mamba. They would sell a lot of these if these were called the Mamba. So Cobra if you're drift boat fishing, the Mamba if you're in a whitewater, or this could be like the gardener snake. But this Orlock runs the industry. This is what 95% of river guides use is the Sawyer A. And while we're on the topic, please don't ever buy NRS Orlocks. Please. NRS, we love you. We want you to sponsor the show. We love you, NRS, but we would not recommend it.
What's wrong with their Orlocks?
So their Orlocks are... So you know how these brass ones, they give and the ore can pop out?
Yeah.
Like that's the point, is like, because they're brass, they're tunable. You can also like hit them with a hammer and they'll change it, but they'll still keep their shape. The NRS ones don't give. So when an ore gets vertical, the ore breaks. Like they're super strong.
Actually, come on, Zach. I've used the NRS ones that had ores pop out of them.
This is the one called the Super Strong. It doesn't.
I've never used the Super Strong. I just used the regular.
And the regular one's the same. So I know of people who broke a handful of ores last summer, and we diagnosed it, and it came down to the Orlock. And you look at the NRS Orlocks, and they don't bend. They really don't bend. Like this thing is solid. And the other one that they make doesn't bend either. So I would not get the NRS ones. Although we do love you, NRS, and we can't wait for you to sponsor the show. Okay.
So we got some more comments. Kirk Miller.
All right, here we go.
Because Willie Bum's got a good point.
Should we start here?
Oh yeah.
Scat. Yeah, right today. Michael.
And he said for now. He even says for now. Yeah. Exactly. For now, Michael. Exactly.
They did was they bought a refurbished machine to replace the old one. And the problem isn't the machine. The problem is people aren't responsibly using the scat machine. The problem is, or like I watched commercial guides once take their gloves off and throw them in the machine. Commercial guides, they should know better. So the key is the only thing that goes in your groover is poop, pee, and toilet paper. No aluminum cans, no trash. And
the big problem is the wipes though. People
they put the wipes in the groover and the wipes. I mean, or other stuff, like just weird stuff. So let's hope so. I think in the Middle Fork, people get it. On the Rogue, there's not enough education about how to use a scat machine. 12-foot older bucket boat. Last 2 days of June. Yeah. Ooh. I mean, Kirk, it's really hard for us to answer these questions because you could be the best boater in the world and have the best passenger in the world. And you could have the best oars and pins and clips, and you couldn't be just like everything else could be perfect. And you can know the lines without knowing you or your boat or anything else. I'm going to say this is a bad idea.
Zach, but tell me, isn't he a lot less likely to flip if he's running a bucket boat?
Yeah.
So the boat's most likely going to be upright.
At 3.5 to 4 feet, it's not the middle. That's the Goldilocks. I mean, that's the awesome flow for the Middle Fork.
I think a couple of my concerns would be you're not going to travel at the same speed as the rest of your team because it's going to be your boat's going to get filled with water and you're just going to move downstream with the current a lot faster. So it's going to be hard for you to maintain boat spacing. And then it's going to be harder for you to effect a rescue because after a rapid, your boat fills with water. And so you're not going to be as good of a teammate. I think your boat will be most likely to be okay, but you're going to have some problems there, or pulling into eddies and stuff like that after a rapid, things of that nature, where it's going to be messier. Like the boat will probably be upright, and the person up front, if they're a good bailer, they'll be okay.
I'm not worried about flipping that much. I'm more worried about you have so much momentum, and you run into rocks. I mean, it depends how good of a boater you are. If you're a baller, if you're an Aaron Cavagnolo, if you're a Noel Fruitenicht, you're going to do great. But if you're not that experienced, it's going to be hard. And so I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but is it a good idea? Probably not. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some concern there, yeah.
Rubber bumpers against your lock, and so you shouldn't run the standard locks. Cobras required to what?
Yeah, because the way the Cobras round up, when you're standing up and you're rowing your locks on them, they sit better. When you have the rubber stoppers.
Oh, I run against rubber stoppers all the time with these.
Yeah, it kind of chunks them out and wears them out, particularly if you stand up to row.
Yeah, I think I think that's the key. I don't stand up to row that much. And Willie Bum guides in the canyon, so if your guys in the canyon, maybe you'll enjoy your or.
But the canyon is a good compromise. I agree. The canyon's a good compromise between the two.
You mean the Python?
The Python, yes.
Yep. I mean, now the Python exists, I think there's almost no reason for the Cobra. But that's just my opinion. And guys, again, this is my opinion. This is a show. This is about entertainment. We could be totally
wrong. Let's keep it moving, Zach. This is supposed to be a quick show. We're already almost 30 minutes.
Just use pins and clip. There, done.
Denise,
Thanks,
amazing point.
That's some logic.
The pins and clip way better.
Yeah, that's some straight up logic.
Yeah, cool. I agree, Peter. I've seen them pop out too. I don't know what Zach's talking about.
I wouldn't recommend.
I will say, I think some people do is they try to hammer them down too tight, also, or they have
you
the wrong.
You can't hammer them down. No, that's my point. Is they're non-adjustable. That's what Peter's saying. Yeah. You can't hammer them down. They do not
have adjusted them.
No. You don't. They're not NRS then. They don't adjust. They're locked in place. So it does depend on the oar diameter. So if you have little thin oars, they will probably pop out.
No, they're NRS. But my.
Well, they don't. Maybe they're old ones.
Exactly, adjust. Because I went from running wood oars on my Grand Canyon setup to running the Sawyer composites, because the wood oars were giving my forearms problems because they weren't straight. And so I went to the composite. And the composites were wider, and so I bent them out a little bit, so they fit. And they were NRS ones.
Aaron, maybe back in the day, NRS made them that tuned, but they don't now. And you can see here. So here's what they sell. They sell the Super Strong, which is the one. Oh, so I'm sorry, the Atomic. So the Atomic is this one I have here, the one that is super light that doesn't bend. Right, that's the Atomic. And then there's the Shank. What's the Shank Bronze? Wait a minute. Maybe that's the one. The Super Strong.
I probably have.
That's the one that doesn't bend. Maybe this one actually works.
Because I definitely the one I had was bent. I was able to bend it back and forth, and I didn't purchase it. I just got it from the outfitter, but I have a set.
I mean, look, it specifically says here they do not fit NRS R mounts and are not for heavy boats and whitewater. They're proprietary manganese bronze alloy. These have a smaller diameter shaft. I don't think. That's not the ones it says are not for heavy boats and whitewater. So it specifically says that. And then if you look at the Super Strong,
and they're not the smaller shaft ones; they're the normal size shaft.
Is the toughest whitewater open or lock available anywhere, built to perform flawlessly. I feel there's a lot of stuff here that's, I'm not going to say incorrect, but
Zach, I'm going to say I saw with my own eyes. I used to run the wood. They were narrower, composite were wider. They stretched out. I stretched them out. I had to stretch them out a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, maybe back in the day, NRS had good oar locks. If you buy these, you'll probably regret it. Even though it says it's the toughest whitewater open oar lock available anywhere, and it's built to perform flawlessly under the most demanding extreme conditions, I don't think that's true. And that's me. Hey, I'm an NRS fanboy. I want to be sponsored by NRS. I love NRS, and I'm even saying, watch out for these. Yeah, the Python looks cool.
All right, next question. Let's keep it rolling here.
All right,
keep this moving.
All right, there we go. Hold on, I got to get back over here. Okay, last question. I think this is the last question. NRS, I'm sorry. I love you guys. I don't mean to badmouth your inadequate orders. Okay, I'm ouching. I think you meant launching with a party of 18 across 5 boats on the road Saturday. Just to wear in the river. We're wearing a dry suit here in Idaho is warming up. Thinking what suits, just rain pads. What are your rules of thumb for what air and dentators? So everyone, I was here dressed for swim. I don't know. What's the weather gonna be like?
What will you expect your guides to wear that time of year?
I mean, honestly, t-shirts and shorts. But I haven't checked. Let me check the weather. He's leaving Saturday. High in the 60s. I mean, a good rule of thumb is below 55-degree water, wetsuits or dry suits.
What's the flow too? I think is another key thing. It's like when the water's higher, you're much more likely to take a long swim. So like if there's a pool after every rapid and you're not going to take a long swim, it's a lot better than, and someone can go pick you up in a boat very easily versus high water.
It's coming up. I mean, high water, it's relatively high water. I mean, it's 4,000. It's not that high though. I mean, it's whatever. Road, river. The key here is water temperature. That's really the key. So let's see, find the road river temperature.
I might bring a Farmer John wetsuit along. I mean, ideally, I probably wouldn't actually.
Here we go. I mean, the temperature is 58.
Oh, wow.
That's down. I mean, it was in the 60s, and it's come down because there's probably snow melt. I mean, the cutoff for me is 55 degrees. I would probably throw in a wetsuit. I definitely wouldn't bring a dry. What's the weather again? It's past weather. It's not that cold. I don't know. I'd probably have something with me as a backup in case the weather turns, but I'm probably going to wear like a light fleece and shorts.
But a paddling jacket makes it a lot better too if you do take a swim. It helps a lot because you don't get that hit to your chest quite in the same way as if you're just wearing a t-shirt. You know what I mean? If you fall in, you got the paddling jacket on. It's that'll help.
Yeah. No, I think I think that's smart. Yep. I think you want to cover your body up.
I probably wouldn't bring the wetsuit. Now thinking about it, I'd bring paddling pants and a paddling jacket and some layers to go underneath it.
I would bring that stuff for sure. But what if, let's see, you're launching Saturday, Sunday.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's 80 today. We launched a rowing school this morning at 80 degrees at 4,000 on the Rogue.
Oh.
Doesn't get a lot better than that.
So the people rowing on your school, what are they wearing? What would you recommend they wear?
I didn't load the trip, but I'm pretty sure we brought them wetsuits. I mean, with that weather forecast, I could be fine if they left the wetsuits at home, but they probably brought a bag of wetsuits just in case.
Because there's always someone who gets cold easily too. Yeah, that's the other thing.
That's the last slide. But a dry suit, I think. I was doing Illinois trips this spring. I wore a wetsuit every day, and it was colder water and colder air temperature, and I watched guides dying of heat in their dry suits.
But Zach, you also have extra insulation. Like not everyone's built like you are.
Are you calling me fat again?
Really easy. No, I'm just saying. I think it depends on who you are too. You know, like that group, the party of 18. Like if you got some really skinny people who get cold really easily, and they're going to be sitting in front of the boat getting splashed the whole time and not rowing, they're going to want something to protect themselves. You know.
Okay. We don't need to call me fat anymore, Aaron. But I think there is something.
You've got more mass, Zach. You're just big and muscly.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Aaron, I think the difference is I'm acclimatized to cold weather. Like I'm in cold weather. I'm in cold water a lot. And there is an acclimatization people have to cold water that helps with cold water immersion. So because
you're right about that. Having said that, I used to spend my winters in a very cold place and I still struggled with the cold water comes.
But cold water, being cold in the winter is different than cold water immersion. So like just because you're in the snow and it's cold out doesn't mean you're ready for cold water. Because I'm in the water.
In the spring, I would swim a bunch and do a bunch of rivers that were cold, and I still struggled with it. So
really, well,
oh yeah,
Aaron, but no, you're struggling. Like we all struggle with the cold water, although you can get better at it. But it's your reflex to cold water immersion. You know how like when you fall out and there's that cold water shock?
Oh yeah, that's a whole different thing to Justin.
That's the main reason to wear a wetsuit on the Rogue or a paddle jacket is for cold water immersion, like that quick shock to cold water. That is the number one reason.
Because some of us just get cold really easily. Like even here
where we'll just warm you up.
I just went to the pool last night, man, and everyone else was around the pool. I got in for like 30 seconds. I was like, man, I'm cold. I'm out. And like everyone lives here, same place.
Oh, hey,
So-
Aaron, but like if you get cold, like you're gonna be fine. Like just do some jumping jacks or like get the campsite on fire. You're just gonna be a little cold. Like I'm not too worried about you. There's comfort versus safety. And so yeah, if you want to be comfortable, I don't know, bring a wetsuit, bring a jacket, bring all kinds of comfort stuff. But when he's talking about dressing for a swim and for safety, the big issue is the initial cold water shock. You fall out into cold water, and what's that shock do to your system?
I agree with that, but there's also just exposure cold that I'm worried about. Like just someone sitting in front of the raft being cold and getting splashed, getting splashed, getting splashed, and getting cold. And like
Yeah, I mean,
getting
that's-
really cold.
Yeah. Dictate what you're wearing, dress for the swim. But I think he's more worried about like dressing for a swim and safety. But yeah, I think as the most conservative, but wait, I always hear dress for a swim as the most conservative, but looking for perspective. I mean, certainly dress for the swim. And you know, when you dress for the swim, it does depend on the team, right? Like if you fall out and people are a mile ahead, you might go for a long swim. But if you're running tight, like commercially, I know I'm going to be running tight. So if I fall out, I know somebody's going to get me in pretty quick. But if I'm on a private trip and I don't know where the next boat's going to be, and they're not going to be looking out for me, I might dress.
Or let's just say you were to do something like decide to do a solo boat trip someplace, which we don't recommend. Then you'd want really good insulation if you took a swim, because you need to be able to self-rescue. You need to not run out of energy in that river because you are counting on yourself to get out. So
if I go on a commercial trip tomorrow, like that's what I'm thinking, I probably shorts and a t-shirt. I'll probably have a bag with the warm stuff close by because I have a team close by that can react and I know I can get back in a boat. Like I know I have the ability to jump back in a boat. If I don't have the ability to get back in a boat on my own, and or my team is not strong, there's no face cards. You know what I'm saying there? No face cards.
What do you mean? No, I don't understand exactly.
There's no jacks, queens, kings, or aces.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If it's all just people looking out for themselves, then I'll probably, Aaron, I'm not playing with cards. I'm using my analogy. Then I might go for a long swim because I can't get myself back in the boat and people may not be close by to help me. So I'm going to need to dress for a long potential swims. Aaron, here we go. For private party, there's a question of wear the wetsuit. Just my 2 cents. That's
a good point. Like if you're not sure, put the wetsuit on, and like you don't even have to wear it for the whole river. Just wear it for those sections where you're concerned about.
Yep. Yeah. I don't mind wearing a wetsuit. It's kind of nice.
It's nice. It's easy sun protection too. Your legs don't get cooked.
I'm gonna tell you one thing: don't go on long hikes in a wetsuit.
Oh no, that's bad.
I learned that the hard way.
Oh, bad rash.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. Go back up to this one. Yeah.
You push moves you normally would. I do a lot. Yeah, if I have a paddle assist, I'll push stuff I would normally downstream ferry. But if you downstream ferry and a paddle assist, you're really powerful.
So yeah, it gives you more options, but and you're talking about keeping people involved. Like depends how hard of a river you're running, but it's nice. It's less work for you, and they enjoy doing it. So I do a lot of downstream ferries though with paddle assist, a lot, and it's super powerful.
Yeah, like it's even more powerful. It's like you can really
great.
Make that move strong.
Yeah.
But if I'm running a gear boat, I'll probably downstream ferry a lot of stuff. Where if I have a paddle assist, I'll probably just push it.
The other thing too, I'll say, if you're paddling forward in paddle assist, you're counting on your paddlers. And the nice thing about turning around pulling is if your paddlers screw up or they fall on the bottom, you're more likely to still make your move. So that's the other advantage.
Yep. All
right, we got a lot of questions here.
It's a gap at the top of the lock. I unfortunately I'm not sure. I think that your oar when you're rowing should stay in the oar lock, but if you hit something, it should pop out.
And it should rattle a bunch when you're rowing. Right?
Yeah. You should have good oar management where it's not a problem. I mean, I think ideally
around in there should be snug, but then ideally it pops out before it breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have it in the oar lock, when you have it in here, you should be able from the boat to, with a lot of force, push it out on your own.
Really?
I don't know.
I haven't been able to do it that way. I will say sometimes mine gets stuck halfway up and I have to go and step on top of it. And
that's a problem.
That gets annoying.
Yeah.
So
that's probably your oar locks.
Yeah. It's those NRS oar locks.
Just saying. That's a good question. Actually, I don't really know the answer to this.
22 pounds.
No,
I don't know. Yeah.
Sweet. Nice. Thanks for being
Yeah.
being a member too and supporting us. We want to definitely. We need to go back to Denise's comment. Strip in the middle. It was 18 foot. Yeah, that's where it's at. Weren't we talking about that, Aaron, last week? Where like, would you row a bucket boat down the middle fork with no bailer? And I was like, yeah, if I was a badass, I would.
Yeah,
Guess who's done it? Denise.
One of my first Grand Canyon baggage boat trips that was you had to, after each wrap, you have to jump up front and start bailing your own boat out. It sucks. That's full on.
You poor thing. Was your Grand Canyon trip rough on you, Aaron?
Well, I'm gonna say the mill fork is way worse. I would be way more scared of the mill fork than Grand Canyon, because Grand Canyon, at least you got a big pool down there and you're just hanging out, floating down there.
But this was 1977 when guides were beefy and strong and burly, not like now where we listen to podcasts at night as we fall asleep, and we have salve. Denise guided when
that's our very first trip, even too. It's like, welcome, here you go. Here's your bucket boat, 18-foot bucket boat.
This is when guides were tough, not like they're like.
I know. Yeah, that'll make you badass doing that. That'd be funny, Zach. Maybe that'll be a rite of passage you can do for your new guides. To welcome, give them an old 17-foot boat with 18-foot boat, bucket boat with 10-foot ash oars, and be like, all right, for your first trip, you got to get this thing down.
I can't even find an 18-foot bucket boat if I wanted to.
What?
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
No, they're not.
Really? You want one?
No, but I'm not going to make. I still have ash oars. I mean, guides won't even run with ash oars anymore. They're like, oh, I don't know. Those look really heavy. Hey, by the way, I've got tons of ash oars for sale if anybody wants to buy ash oars, because I can't get guys to use ash oars anymore. Okay, before we go, Aaron, can I have like 3 minutes of your time?
Sure.
All right. I thought about the card thing a lot. I know you're going to roll your eyes and be annoyed. We talked about it last Friday. I'm trying to put this into I'm just going to roll this idea off of you.
But everyone else doesn't know what you're talking about right now, Zach. So you have to explain all to them, because they don't understand. You're just
the card
talking
thing
about cards.
is, I'm trying to rate, the idea we talked about on the Friday show is creating a system for rating people as cards, like a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 Jack, Queen, King.
I'm just gonna say, Zach, I'm not into rating people like cards.
Okay,
you're
whatever.
Into
this is so that we can talk about teams. Like, what team do you? The idea is not to say this person's a Jack, because they're not always a Jack. It depends on the craft they're in that day and their knowledge of the river too. So somebody who's an ace is maybe done the middle fork of high water, has done a bunch of high water trips, has guided all over the world, and their craft of choice is a raft.
What happens if they're an ace at safety catarafting, but they're
that's the thing.
A paddle rafting.
It depends on the boat and the river too. So you can't just say like I can't
call them a Jack then, and so you got 4 Jacks, but the Jacks are all good at different things.
Yeah,
they're all
possible.
aces at different things, and they'll work fine.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm still working this out, but it's a way to talk about teams, like putting a team out. Because, like, I'll tell you one thing. When I go kayaking, Aaron, listen, I'm going to make this quick. Do you really have to laugh at me on the show, Aaron? This is unprofessional.
This is painful. Go for it.
Okay. So if I go kayaking on something really hard, I don't want a bunch of people at my level kayaking just to go. I want a couple like kings and aces. So if I get in trouble, somebody has my back. Right? Like, Aaron, if I went back into Cherry Creek, I haven't done Cherry Creek in 20 years, maybe. If I went back into Cherry Creek this summer, like back in the day, I'd be happy leading a bunch of people down. No problem.
You let me down.
Yeah, I have no problem. But now if I went, I would probably be a Jack, and I need a couple queens and kings at least to be like, hey, we got your back if you make a mistake. Like, and they're not going to judge me. I'm going to make mistakes, but you guys got me, right? Like, I don't feel comfortable being in the lead anymore because I just don't remember the lines, and I'm getting older. So I think, but if I went on like the middle fork of the salmon, I'm probably like a king because I know the river really well, blah, 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 in an oar boat. So I've been thinking about how we delineate. And so I'm going to say one quick thing and then we can be done and you can go do whatever you're going to do today. 2 through 10s are people who look out for themselves first. To be a face card, you have to be like a trip leader or somebody who's looking out for the team.
I'm gonna say this. I still look out for myself. I must be a 2 through 10 because you should always look out for yourself first.
You know what I mean, Aaron? You're just being difficult.
But but I think it's a key. Okay. I think you're gonna confuse people with this.
Okay. All right. Let me rephrase that. 2 through 10 is a boater who doesn't look out for the team. They're just a boater. They're skilled.
Okay.
And so if somebody's like a class 5 boater, like I've been boating for 30 years, I'm class 5. they're probably just a 9 or a 10 because they don't know to like look back a lot, check on the group, how to space for things. If they have to give somebody advice for a rapid, they might give them like go left and hit by the rock, go right, then go to the waterfall, then go for the thing. Like their description of a rapid will be too long and complicated and poorly communicated, where a king might be like, oh yeah, just go left and then halfway down, go right. Or like, just follow me. And when you see the rock in the middle, just veer left. Like they'll keep beta simple and manageable to other boaters. And so as I thought about this, a 2 through 10 is sort of an individual boater. They might be really good at their individual skills, but they're like leadership and trip leading and team boating isn't there. The face cards are people who are like, look out for the group and provide safety for everybody else. What do you think?
I mean, I think that was my whole problem with this. You haven't defined it.
I'm slowly defining it.
You need to define it before we can use it. You need to have definition. Yeah.
But I'm working on that. You made me think about it a lot this week. And so that's where I'm at now.
I think that's a step in the right direction.
So like if I say there's 2 jacks on a trip, you're like, okay, well those people, they're helpful.
They're looking out for other people. Yeah.
Where if I'm like, there's 2 7s and 2 9s, you're like, oh geez, who's going to be in charge? Who's going to look out for everybody? Like when I went kayaking the other day on this hard run, there was one guy that was an ace. He just like he was catching, like most everybody was just they didn't looked out for themselves. But one guy would like look back all the time. He would catch certain eddies, make sure everybody passed. And he did this, like his boating skills were next level. They were incredible. And so I would call him an ace. Like having him out there was crucial. If he wasn't there, our safety would have been way lower. Yeah, I think with this, not only boat rescue skills, but the physical fitness to deploy them. Yeah. Like if I'm going to get super messed up, like if I go on a hard river, like somebody may know a bunch of stuff, but if they're not physically fit and they can't like help me when I'm stuck on a log or in a sieve, that's kind of pointless. I think they have to have the knowledge, the rescue skills, and the physical fitness to deploy those skills. Mark Rivers, PT, DPT, badass. I have 10s and 11s. And some are in Hood River, some are in Grants Pass, some are in San Bernardino. Hit me up.
How much would you sell like a 10 or 11 foot ashore for?
I think I'm going to sell them for $200 a piece. But I feel like that's a really good deal. And so if I get too many people asking for them, I'm going to raise
the older ashores are better than the newer ones too, because
I have both. I have a lot of old ones. I have some that are refurbished, some that like, yeah, I think $200 a oar sounds pretty fair for what they are, but it's a really good.
Let me know how it goes, because I got 8 ashores sitting in my parents' garage that they want me to get rid of. So I'm right behind you.
Contact Aaron first.
No. You get rid of yours.
I don't think people even use ashores anymore.
I think Mark Rivers does. They're sweet.
Well, Mark Rivers is a badass.
I want to keep a set of mine just for creeking. I like them for running hard runs. I like them way better. They're
you know what, Aaron felt the same way. I've got my set of, my old Tuolumne oars in my basement right now that I'll always keep because they're like I ran the Tuolumne 100 times with these oars. That we used to run those ash oars down Cherry Creek too, right? Yeah. But I've been running with MXGs at Sawyer MXGs, the outfitter size.
Are you running them as pins and clips?
Yeah, they rock. I wouldn't.
Are you? I don't like the handles on them.
Oh, you'll live. Just relax.
No, I don't like the handles. I like the wood handles.
Just take the Aaron here. They're right here, dude. Are you kidding me? God, you are such a sissy.
I'm glad this is a 15-minute show, Zach.
Aaron, you don't like this, right? This.
I don't like that. I don't like how it's shaped like this.
Oh, get over it.
I'd like a little longer so you can choke up move with different spots.
You're being elitist. You're being elitist. That's elitist.
I like the ashores, and I like the flex in them. They flex better than those do. Those don't have the flex.
You don't want flex. Flex is ridiculous. Flex is like
you want
flex is like Cobra Orlocks. It's ridiculous.
Flex is like, you know what flex is like? Flex is like on your mountain bike having a shock, so you don't like load up your joints quite as hard. I've noticed that going from the ashores in Grand Canyon to going to the composites. The composites are easier on my wrists and forearms because I'm not.
You know how you can solve that problem, Aaron?
They're not doing this. How?
Push-ups.
No, I feel it in my joint.
Yeah,
When you're
push-ups
rowing
will
all
help your
summer, you
joints.
don't need to do more push-ups.
Glucosamine or something like that.
Or you just use wood oars because they flex.
The wood oars are heavier. That's gonna be harder on your joints. That's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Aaron,
It's
just
not.
get the MX. Whatever. I'm over it. This discussion's annoying me. I'm done. Denise, I learned on ash oars too. I ran them I still run them. I mean, Aaron and I ran them on the tee forever.
Yeah. You see the next comment? You know he's at UC Davis now? I think he's part of the outdoor program UC Davis. Sawyer Cole is there now. He just got started with us.
They probably have ash oars there still too.
Yeah, I bet they still have some of them. Well, they were getting broken pretty fast at one point. I wonder if they still have those ash oars there.
The problem
Sawyer,
is
good to see you.
The other problem with ash is if you break the oar, you break the oar. Where on the MXGs, you can replace the blade or the shaft.
Adam Crom just glues them back together with wood glue. It's amazing. It's wood glue.
It depends how bad you break it. It depends.
No. He breaks off like half. He's done amazing things with them.
That's ridiculous.
No, and they hold up. They use the Sear Max use them next year.
Rick, I'm insulted.
Yeah, Rick, I agree. I'm coming around a little bit more. But before last year, he just was like, if you had a Jack and a King and a 7, if you had an Alpha, a Beta, and a Gamma, what would you do? And you're like, I don't know what that means.
It's how we learn. It's how we have of course you don't know what it means, but it starts a discussion. I'm going to refine it. Hey, I'm going to ask. We'll do one more. This is just fun, and we'll go. Would you take this crew down the middle fork? A Jack, a 5, a 6, a Queen, and a 7. No, on the high water middle fork. High water middle fork.
Is a 4 having to row their own boat?
Look at that. A 5, 6, 7, a Jack, and a Queen.
Is a 5 going to have to row their own boat?
Yeah.
Well, from my understanding, 5s are terrible. So no, 5s shouldn't even be on the river.
Okay, cool.
I mean, yeah.
Denise, do you work for Echo? I didn't know that. Denise, we need to learn more about you. Denise, we need to have Denise on the show. Denise, we gotta get you on the show sometime and do the interview Denise show. We gotta make that happen. Oh yeah.
I bet all broke. They still have those nice. They have those nice Crete frames. But I bet I know your dad's probably got the Clavey. I think your dad's got a set of Claveys. I remember those. It's the same ones. Can't believe he's going to let you use those things, man. Don't break those. That's like back in the day, denting your dad's cool car or something.
I've got a set. The ones in my basement are a set of Claveys, and I think I have 1 or 2 Claveys in the sales. Clavey oars. I have 1 or 2. For those of you who don't know, Clavey made these just bomber awesome ash oars for a long time. I think they're the best ash oars ever made.
Well, Clavey didn't build them; they had Sawyer make them for
to a standard.
The Clavey,
but to a specific standard.
Now, Denise, were you with OA UC Davis or OA Outdoor Adventures, the company that was,
I think she was with the latter, with the Mr. Volpert.
With Mr. Volpert, yeah.
Yep. Sir Volpert, Sir Bob Volpert, who also owned a Clavey. Yep. Yeah. All right. I know you only want to do this for like 5 minutes, Aaron. I know you're.
Yeah, it was. Well, I was hoping I made a promise to somebody here, my partner, that we weren't going to talk for an hour.
Well, so. It's good to catch up.
Yeah, totally. This is great.
We should probably end this one. Everybody, thanks for watching. Do you want to close this one down, Aaron?
This is my first time. I'm really excited. If you guys haven't hit the like button, hit the like button and subscribe, because Zach wants to get to 10,000 subscribers so he can feel
10 million
mastery. 10 million. Let's take it one step at a time, Zach. Don't get ahead of yourself. Let's get to 10,000 first, and we're going to worry about adding another 0. So, yeah, if you haven't hit that like button, please do. And of course, you can turn on notifications so you can be notified anytime Zach puts anything new on Gear Garage. We'll be back on Friday this week.
Yeah.
Rumor was we're going to try to do Thursday, but now we're going to be back Friday.
I'm here Friday, so we're good.
All right, sweet. Well, this is a lot of fun, Zach. And hey, you guys, thanks for all those comments. This was fun. I like this a lot. This is fun answering these questions.
It's just like we don't have to provide any information. We just show up and answer questions.
All right. Okay. You have a good one.
Can I ask you one more thing? Come on, Aaron. One more thing. Please.
No.
Will you take this group down the middle fork?
No.
Oh, get the 2. That's going to ruin it.
No.